Being negative is a choice. Being positive is a choice. The same energy and effort it takes to be negative is the same amount of energy, the same amount of effort it takes to be positive. And before you say, no, it's not, yes, it is. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. And yes, that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. In this video, we're going to go over and discuss why you should be positive, how to deal with negativity, how to discern negative energy from yourself, people, places, and things, as well as some recommendations, some reminders, some disclaimers, and what to be aware of. Before we get into the introduction of the video, aka the disclaimers and what you should be aware of, let's go back to the topic and the title of the video. The same amount of energy it takes to be positive is the same amount of energy it takes to be negative. Pause this, write it down on your notes, put it in the comment section. The only reason why most people think it's so hard to be supportive, positive, confident, and to heal themselves is because they have been conditioned and exposed to negativity. They have allowed people to project and deflect their negative experiences, their negative beliefs onto them. And when you're somebody who is not taught and shown how to be confident, how to be positive, how to be an individual, how to think for yourself, you believe these people. And of course, some people do it because that's all they've been exposed to, so it's subconsciously. And then you do have some people in this world who are malicious and they're evil. They don't care, right? Hurt people, and that's their mindset. Just because somebody's having a bad day doesn't mean that you have to have a bad life. Just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean that you have to have a bad life. Just because certain people and places and things don't think highly of themselves or want to be positive doesn't mean that you have to engage or condone that type of energy. And it doesn't matter if it's your family members, your people in school, your coworkers, or anybody that you know. So number one, you cannot make excuses when it comes to being positive, and you cannot make excuses when it comes to being negative. You have to want to be a positive person. You have to want to be confident. You have to want to heal yourself. You have to want to be a good person. Just like you have to want to watch these videos with intention to educate yourself, to be motivated, to be inspired, to heal, and to be the best version of yourself. Until you learn to be intentional with your time, your energy, and effort, everything you do automatically is going to be limited, which means you have doubt, you have fear, you project, you have low self-esteem, you have insecurities. You have to realize that in order for you to unlearn these negative thoughts and these negative emotions, you have to acknowledge that maybe you don't feel confident today. Maybe you don't feel 100% positive. Maybe you do have insecurities. Maybe you are envious. Maybe you have been exposed around so many malicious and evil people. Maybe you do have trust issues because abandonment, childhood trauma, etc. Until you decide that you want to be positive, until you decide that you no longer want to surround yourself with negative people or stop being a negative person, you will constantly deal with the psychological warfare. And this is why a lot of people are depressed. This is why a lot of people are bipolar. This is why a lot of people take their energy out onto others who have done nothing to them, like predators, like people touching people inappropriately, people robbing, stealing, killing, harming people for no reason, people sabotaging people making up rumors, spreading gossip, like vandalizing, just being very low vibrational. The second thing you need to be aware of is that when you're unlearning how to be negative versus how to be positive, you have to make sure that you're cutting anything or anybody off who is not allowing you to be positive. There are so many people that I've encountered within my life that anytime I was happy or anytime I was excited or anytime I felt good, they were like, well, what are you smiling about? Why are you so happy? Like, people wanted to try, because they've never did and never will, wanted me to be like them. They wanted me to be sad. They wanted me to be depressed. They wanted me to be angry. They wanted me to be mad. Like, you have to separate yourself from people who are like that, because it's like, it's one thing if, maybe you didn't grow up a certain type of way, but it's like, you have resources, you have tools. Like, if you're on YouTube right now, you have internet, you have Wi-Fi, you have resources. You could Google how to stop being negative. You can invest. Like, I don't make excuses for people as adults, because you should be an adult watching this, regardless if you're like Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, gay, hey, them, she, elemental G, 1, 2, 3. I don't make excuses for grown adults who know better, who have a certain level of awareness, who have a certain level of comprehension. Now, if you're a young person watching this, okay, cool, I'll give you a little bit more grace. But it's like, as a grown adult, you know right from wrong, you know left from right at this point. And it's just like, when you're surrounding yourself with people who don't see any wrong with what they do, or who do not want to improve themselves, or who can't acknowledge that they're wrong, or, you know, just apologize, you will constantly think like them. Like, the people you surround yourself with, you end up becoming. And it's not fair to you or to them. Like, there's nothing wrong with you being happy. It's nothing wrong with you smiling. There's nothing wrong with you being confident. There's nothing wrong with you wanting to be positive. Like, who genuinely wants to be sad and depressed and angry and frustrated and poor and just unhealthy every day? You know? Who says, when I grow up, I want to go to jail? When I grow up, I want to be a killer. When I grow up, I want to be broke. When I grow up, I want to be homeless. When I grow up, I have to rob and steal. Nobody wants to do that. Unfortunately, because there are people in this world who are negative, who do not care, like I said, because they're greedy and they're malicious and they want power. Because let's talk about it. They want to abuse and misuse people. So it's like, you're somebody watching this, you're not meant to be abused. You're not meant to be manipulated. You're not meant to be taken it for granted for. Just because there are negative people in this world and negativity exists doesn't mean that you have to partake and participate in it. And I'm speaking from experience. Out of the 28 years of my life, you guys, I've seen negativity. I'm not going to deny and say that it doesn't exist for most people, but it's never affected me, genuinely. Have I had moments where people have said and done things to affect me? Yes. Had I had moments to where I've had to let people know, like, you got the right one? Yes. But you know what I realized at the end of the day? Like I said, once I peeped the scenery, once I realized certain people had certain energy, and of course I didn't have to be around them, I had to tolerate them, because that's a different topic for a different video, I separated myself from them. And I had to realize, if somebody cares about me, if somebody loves me, if somebody respects me, why would they want me to curse them out? Why would they want me to put their hands on them? Why would they want me to go off on them? Why would they want me to talk about them? Females and men. If that's really your friend, do you think your friends are going to want you to lose your mind, lose your job, lose your home? If that's supposed to be your significant other, do you think that person wants you to curse them out, talk to them crazy, put their hands on you? If that's supposed to be your family members, do you think? No. So it's just like, you have to be mindful to people who are choosing to be negative, because it's a choice. The third thing you need to be aware of is that when you do decide to watch these videos, when you do decide to seek therapy, when you do decide to take the time to become educated and equipped, you can no longer do the things you used to do. Like I said, you can no longer make excuses about how people used to do certain things, because at the end of the day, they did what they did, you did what you did, and you can move forward. This doesn't mean, like I said, that I haven't had to learn from certain things in my life, but it's like, if you know your intentions weren't to hurt and harm people, and you know that you were provoked, you know that you were a victim, you don't have to worry about that. I don't feel the need to try to explain myself that I'm a good person to evil people, because that's the thing. Only people who will try to provoke you, or like I said, who are greedy and just very low vibrational and delusional and ugly and nasty spirited, will try to make it seem like you being positive is a bad thing, or will try to use what you've done or how you react and responded against you. Like, nobody could do anything to use anything against me, and that's the same thing with you. Like, once you decide that, you know what, just because I grew up around envious people, insecure people, just because maybe you felt negativity amongst yourself, doesn't mean that you have to, like I said, continue to be that way. So the fourth thing you need to be aware of is surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Once you decide that you want to become the best version of yourself, and like I said, you're taking the actions, you're learning, you're unlearning, you're isolating, you're grieving, you're doing what needs to be done, you can only surround yourself with people who think the same. So if you have to be alone, sitting with yourself or with your God, your ancestors, universe, do that. Be alone. Sit with yourself. But you can no longer continue to have long-lasting relationships with people who don't feel the same way, energetically, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, because it's always going to be tension, it's always going to be hostility, it's always going to be combative, and it's just unnecessary, and it's so chaotic, it's so problematic. That's like on the internet. So many people feel the need to speak on so many other people's lives, and it's just like, if you don't like somebody, if you don't agree with somebody, if you don't engage with somebody, if you don't want to support somebody, nobody is telling you to do that. When people leave the Declaration of Independence negative comments in my comment section, fiction or just in real life, I'm not reading it. When people want to sit here and go back and forth, I'm not doing all of that. And that's the same thing with you. Like, you don't have to clean dirt with dirt. Like, that's not the type of energy we are. And even if you did, like I said, at one point in your life, had to knock people out or cuss them out one good time to let you know you can't mess with me, you separate yourself. Let people be miserable by themselves, because that's what it is. Just misery just really does love company. So lastly, when you're choosing to be positive, like I said, you have to commit. And that's how we're going to start the recommendations. Like, you have to learn how to be positive. You have to learn how to be positive daily. This is not something that you get to pick and choose. Like, you have to build momentum, just like you build momentum with anything else that you want to exceed and accelerate and do well in. So the first recommendation is to figure out why you feel negative. So on your notes and in the comment section, I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to answer the question, why do you feel negative? What have you gone through today or in your life or in the past couple of months or in this year that made you feel negative? And take your time. Obviously, when you guys are watching these videos, I'm speaking in real time. I'm speaking from experience. Take your time to answer these questions. Like, you don't have to rush. You need to figure out what it is that you feel negative about. The second question that I need you to answer and take time to reflect on is, how does it make you feel when you feel negative? So you could say, I feel negative because I was late to work today and it pissed me off because there was so much traffic and there's nothing I can do. It affected me because every time I'm late to work, I get written up, or my bosses have a problem, or now I have to stay later at work. Elaborate, communicate. You have to talk about how you feel. Like, you can't deny negativity if you're not somebody that's naturally positive or naturally working on yourself. This is why a lot of people think it's so hard. It's not. Same thing with being confident and envious. It's the same thing, okay? The third question, the second recommendation, is figuring out all the things that are negative that you no longer want to be attached to. So if it's a person, a people, a place, or thing that's triggering you, you need to identify who these people and these places and things are, why you no longer want to be associated with them, and what you're going to do to separate yourself or detach yourself from them. So for example, there were certain people that I have outgrown that were extremely negative. I didn't want to be attached to them because they weren't growing, they weren't evolving, and they just were not my cup of tea. Simple. I don't have to throw shade. I don't have to speak on them. I'm not giving them the time of the day because, you know what I'm saying? I had to be around certain people because I didn't get to pick the people I went to school with. I didn't get to pick the people I work with, and I didn't get to pick my family members, okay? All to y'all shade. You feel me? So it's just like, once you know who these certain people, places, and things are, and you realize, okay, why, like, does it make you feel negative? You then get to decide, which is the third or fourth thing. I think it's the third or fourth thing. What number are we on? What number are we on? Third or fourth? I think it's the third or fourth thing. But no, once you figure out like who certain people and places and things are, like why they're triggering you, I want you then to come up with a solution. So it's just like, if certain people have bullied you or made fun of you, I want you to ask yourself who these people are to you and if you agree with the negativity. Because the real question you need to be asking yourself is, do you genuinely believe that you're a negative person, or have people projected and deflected onto you? Because there's a difference. So for example, I know I'm not a negative person. I know that I can be negative just like anybody and everybody else, but I know when I'm in the wrong. I know when I'm very sarcastic. I know when I can be nasty. I know how to be shady just like any and everybody else. I know how to be mean. I know how to throw shade, but I know naturally that's not who I am. What I realize is that because I like to mind my business, and I still am like this as I've gotten older, I was around people who didn't know how to mind their business, and me minding my business bothered people. And necessarily, like I said, it wasn't me because I didn't do anything to these people. It was their internal issues or their demons that they were dealing with, and because they never took the time to reflect, they thought, you know, some people be having to learn the hard way. They thought they could just say and do certain things, and I wasn't going to say certain things. I wasn't going to react and respond. And it was just like, no. Like, I know when to pick my battles because I know that if I need to get in the field, I'm getting in the field. You feel me? And I had to realize a lot of these people who would like throw shade, spread rumors, gossip, like I said, none of these people were important. None of these people deserve my attention. None of these people I wanted to be friends with. None of these people I would even like, had I not had to cross paths with these people and places, things on my soul, I would have never encountered none of these people intentionally. So it's just like, I'm not going to believe the rumors and the lies and the gossip, because it's just like, when you look at the people who are spreading rumors, when you look at the people who are gossiping, when you look at the people that try to come up against you, when you look at the people who are sabotage you, when you look at the people that's trying to cause problems in your home, at your job, when you look at the people that are cheating on you, like, it's like, be for real. Who do you think you're supposed to be? You know, like, and these same people, they look up to you. That's why people feel the need to be negative towards you, because they don't think highly of themselves. Nobody who's positive, nobody who's confident feels the need, like I said, to throw shade about anybody. When you fall out with people, nobody should know your business. I've never fell out with people and told any of my friends' business. When you're dating somebody and they don't want to be with you and they can't say that, it's no reason for them to just cheat on you. Like, it's just immature. You guys, I've never been like that immature or that shallow or that superficial. And it's just like, ew. So it's just like, we got to stop focusing on the negative energy. Because like, the more and more you talk about it and you're not coming up with solutions, or you're not expressing yourself and you're not releasing how you feel, the more and more it becomes a distraction. So it's just like, I'm not invalidating your feelings, because there's no right or wrong way to like stop being mad, stop being angry, especially when you're healing yourself from these traumatic situations and people, places, and things. Like, you do have to take your time. So it could take weeks, months, years, and days. Nobody's rushing you, but it's like, eventually you just have to make a decision that once you no longer want to be associated or attached to certain people, places, and things, you don't have to. And it's like, all you have to do moving forward is just learn to focus on yourself. And as you continue to focus on yourself, I'm telling you from experience, all the people and the places and things will be removed out of your life forever. A lot of people will be removed out of your life forever. You just got to give it some time. So if you're in situations and you don't want to be there, it's just your confirmation and your reminder. You need to do what you got to do. Of course, you don't want to be there, but you have to be there. Like, you have to be there. And you, like I said, you don't have to pay attention to them. Like, you really do have to learn how to ignore certain people, because these same people, they're not even meant to have access to you. All the negative people that projected and deflected onto you, if you genuinely know who you are and you know you're not a negative person, you know you're not out here in competition, you know you're not out here acting weird, you know you're not low vibrational, you know who you are. It's just so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. Like, you guys, it's nothing more to talk about. So it's just like, once you decide that you want to be positive, surround yourself with positive people, because there are positive people in this world that exist. Like, you have to become the positive, good looking, good spirited, good energy person before you have relationships with people. And it has to be genuine. Like, it has to start within, like people say, doing the inner work. So make sure you're focusing on yourself. Make sure you're talking about how you feel. And as well as, whenever you do feel mad, angry, and frustrated, finding ways to channel it, outlet, journal, exercise, meditate, prayer, book a service and session. My website is in the description down below. Watching these videos, going to your therapist, your psychiatrist. And if you do have positive friends and family who support you, because like I said, everyone's not bad, surrounding yourself with them. Like, feel mad in the moment, but it's like, once you realize certain people aren't for you, let them know that. Just, if you have to speak to people, let them know, you're not worthy of my time and energy. You need attention, and I'm not going to give it to you. We don't have to be friends. We don't have to be family. If these are your coworkers and classmates, that's it. That's all. Do what you need to do. If you can, completely just stay far away from them. Okay? Let them think whatever they want to think about you. Like I said, when people are not used to people being positive, they think you're being weak. They think you're taking you for granted. They think, oh, no, she's so kind. She's so nice. And it's just like, no, I wasn't raised by hyenas. You feel me? I wasn't raised to be disrespectful and rude and to ignore people or be like that's disgusting. You should be humiliated. Like, these people do not have any shame. I wasn't raised to be like that. It's nasty. So with that being said, we're going to take all that nasty energy. We're going to let those nasty people and places and things have it. And you're just going to continue to focus on yourself. So thank you guys, like always, for liking these videos. Okay? Because it's like, let's be for real. Everybody loves, oh, I'm so real. Okay, let's be for real. Let's really have these conversations and let's come up with solutions. Let's talk about what we want to talk about. But yeah, thank you guys for always liking the videos. Thank you for always engaging and commenting down below and turning on your post notifications. Thank you for following me on all my social media platforms. All the information is in the background, in the description. You guys, it's pouring raining. I don't know if you guys can hear that, and I think that's why I said background, but no. All the information is down in the description down below. And head to my Instagram and my TikTok because I will be going live answering you guys' questions, comments, concerns if I didn't address them already. But remember, being positive is a choice. The same amount of energy it takes to be negative is the same amount of energy it takes to be positive. It just depends on what you want to focus on. And if you're serious, like if you want to be positive and you start focusing on positive things, you become positive, you'll know when somebody's being negative. You'll know when somebody's being shady. You'll know when somebody's being fake. And like I said, you just let them know, like, we don't need to be friends. I don't associate myself with you. I don't want to be around you. If you don't want to like me, don't like me. But what you're not going to do is, you know, get me out of my character. And a lot of times, too, you only need to say that one time. And once you say it one time, people will leave you alone. If not, if these people are crazy, like I said, call the police on them, sue them, or if you need to, pull up and let them know. Okay? Love you.